All right, fantastic. Welcome everyone to our Responsive 7 demo day. Thanks a lot for taking time out of your day to take a look at these details with us. Pretty much what demo day is about here is for, I figure, 3 reasons. One, for us to show off how the new features and the new design tweaks look on our demo shops, sort of the most celebrated aspect, the part that we'll be able to show off to the whole world. Sharon's going to start off with that. After that, Charlie's going to go into some details about where these design tweaks have been made in case they don't seem immediately obvious to you from comparing an old version to this updated version. She's going to follow along with showing us details about the new FAQ page and the mega menu, along with the new .details content blocks that are now included in the page.details template. Matt is then going to give us a quick view of the code and maybe some potential troubleshooting ideas that could come up for stuff that would happen on support, and potentially if any bugs get reported about these features, we'll have a little bit of a familiarity around where we can find those snippets kind of thing. And then I'll wrap it up. So just to give a quick idea of why we're updating Responsive 7, this is on following along with our endeavor to drive traffic to the theme store, to drive sales in the theme store. We've had a huge push in that direction with the release of Artisan, but of course behind the scenes we also want to keep the rest of our catalog robust and up to date and keep people interested in the rest of the themes that we have for sale on the theme store. So we had planned out a number of revamps and bigger feature releases for our theme store themes. Responsive 7 is sort of the next up on the docket, and we've got now 4 new demo shops that we're planning on marketing along with these new features that we're going to get to look at today. So again, thanks a lot for joining, and what I'll do now is throw the floor over to Sharon so that we can get a fresh look at the new New York demo shop. Take it away, Sharon.
Hello. Okay, so let me just share the screen. I hope that's going to work. And hopefully you'll share the right screen and not my... There, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to take you on a quick little tour, a little bike tour of the New York demo shop. This is the most outward-facing result of all the changes that we've been making. But of course, Charlie and Matt are going to walk you through all the finer details of that. But at least this, you can see some of it in action. The demo shops are not totally done just yet. New York is the closest to being finished. So I'm going to use that one. So right off the bat, you might notice the absence of the icons here. They haven't disappeared. They're an option, of course. They've always been an option, and they have a new interesting circle, no circle option, but we'll get to that in a second. So here, on this particular version, I don't have the mega menu enabled. I'll show you that in another version. But here, this is our traditional dropdown. And we've got our big slideshow, as per usual. This is a lot bigger than it was previously. By the way, these products, they're coming from the Brooklyn Bicycle Company. We formerly used an Italian bike maker. So we thought, you know what, for New York shop, let's use a New York bicycle provider. So that's who we've got the material from, including a lot of these images here that have come from their shop. Some of them are Unsplash, but some of them are from them. And what else did I want to say about this? Oh yeah, we've got a change on the fonts, and not so much the colors, but we're using this Abril fat face for the heading font, which is kind of fun. And Chivo, I think, is the sort of every other place you see a font, like subheadings, regular text. I think that's pretty much all Chivo. We kept some of the colors the same, like the red for the button. It's kind of nice in New York. It's always been sort of a good, successful call to action. So we're leaving that there, but you'll see a few other subtle changes. Anyhow, so we'll scroll through just quickly the home page. By the way, we know that there's a little bit of funniness happening here with the sticky header. We'll fix that. Got the dynamic payment button enabled. Some of their cool shots. Testimonials, we had that before. Here are the new bikes, the new styles of bikes from Brooklyn Bicycle Company. They also have a nice video actually of showing their design process and the back end of their bike making, which is kind of fun. So all the traditional stuff is there, blog posts, our little newsletter section. And here at the bottom, nice clean footer. I think Charlie will maybe walk you through a little bit more of that. And like I said, the circles that have traditionally been around all the icons in responsive is now optional. So you can turn the circle off, which I think merchants will really like. Left them on here because the round shape kind of echoes the bicycle wheel. So that's why they're there. So in this one, let's take a quick look at the FAQ page, just because it's a new variation on it. We know FAQ templates from Turbo and Artisan, and it's usually a full width page. However, we now have a split screen option so that you can put a picture on one side. You can decide right or left, and the questions will go on the other side. And it's just a little, easier to scan, easier to read, we figure. Nice option to make that text, which is kind of dull, right? If it's just a page full of text, just to make that a little more interesting. And then I'm going to go back to, I don't know why that menu changed. Oh, you know what? Yeah, this is now our story. Yes, so this is, sorry, I had a theme info page somewhere else, but this is using page.details. We have a new section, two new sections on this details template now, one of which is here. So it's the featured product that we have seen on the homepage, of course, but now it can be added to a page.details, which could come in handy if someone's sort of saying, hey, this is us, and here's our maybe favorite product this month. So there we have that. There are also featured promotions in this template now, which I do not have enabled on this particular page, but I think I have it elsewhere. So let me see. I can show you that. I think I'm not even looking at the right one. Okay, let's do it this way. Otherwise, you're going to see all the back end, which we don't want to see it yet. Oh, where's a mega menu? Sorry. There's a mega menu. Got too many versions of this going. All right, so the other new big feature is, in addition to the FAQ templates and the details additions, is this mega menu, which is really nice. It's simple. It's not quite as, let's say, flexible as Turbo, but it's also not as complicated to set up as Turbo. So I think merchants will really like this. I think Shopify, fingers crossed, will go for this as well. The number of columns is sort of dictated by the menu that you're pulling in. You sort of, Charlie will show you how to set it up. But there's also one optional column amongst the 5. I think it maxes out at 5 columns. And one of them you can configure with an image and additional text. And of course, all this links to wherever you want it to link. And it's that preview that's driving me nuts. And then right at the bottom of this mega menu, just to point out, we also have this optional announcement banner. It's kind of like the one that's at the top of the page, but you can set a color of the text, of the background, and of course that can be linked to something as well. So it's just another handy way for merchants to have a little bit more, ways to advertise and announce and draw attention to various things in their shop. And I think that's mainly the overview from my end. And I think that would be okay to now kick back to, oh, it's like a hall of mirrors. Back to Charlie and Matt for all the gory details. The lovely details, really. They're the nitty gritty, but they have made it look really tight and nice. So I think I will turn it to them.
Thanks a ton, Sharon. That looks great, by the way. Loving the typography selection, and big fan of having that featured product block in a .details template. Really interested to see what merchants do with that. Seems like a great way to like really highlight a product in a way that you're kind of tricking them, like, hey, this is all about us, and this is the best thing that we offer. I think that it's a great storytelling
I
way.
It's asked for too. Like
yeah,
the Russians asked for.
It's a popular request for sure.
Nice.
Thanks a ton. New York looks great. But yeah, we'll throw it over to Charlie, who will sort of describe some of the design tweaks that have happened and go over how these features are set up. Take it away, Charlie.
Okay. I need to figure out how to share my screen.
So there's a present now
icon.
Okay. I think that will work.
Okay. Oh, great. Cool. Can you guys see what's going on? All right. So what I will go over first is just a few changes that we made to the main menu, as well as going into the mega menu. So the changes that we made to the main menu is we left aligned and made this button have more space around it. And then when you open it up, everything is left aligned and kind of more consistent, has more spacing around it, a little easier for people to be using across different devices. This is just an example of the mega menu, but I'll just go back a little bit. Mega menu, remove. Okay, so here's our regular menu up here. Nothing too fancy going on, just kind of going over everything that Sharon already showed you. And then when you go into the header, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see this add mega menu block. So what you will do is type in the link that you would like from the main menu to kind of reach your mega menu. So I'm going to write catalog. And that's now going to be what's going on with the mega menu. And I'm going to switch up my main menu here. So right here, you can pick which menu you want to choose from after you've already put it together in your navigation. And so I'm going to pick mega menu because that's holding the different collections that I wanted to show off. So here we are. Here's the different collections. And since I have more than 5 different columns going on, you can see that there's a button on the right that will bring you over to the additional columns. So there's 5 on this area. Whoops. And when you go next, there's 2, and there's still room for 3 more if you want. Another really cool thing about the mega menu is you could have a special column, which I will add here. And you can add an image. What do I want to call this? Well, anyway, call it whatever. Go to the, let's go there. And you can link to a product or a specific collection. And then you can put a little bit of text. And once you've filled out all those fields, you go back here. You still can't see it. So you need to actually select your position. I would like it in the first position because it's the most important thing in the mega menu to me right now. Let's check it out. And here it is, our HQ helmet. And if you go there, it'll bring you to the other product page that I actually had it linked to. Was there anything else about the mega menu that I wanted to show you? Well, let's actually go to mobile view. So we have our normal main menu, and then when we go into catalog, since catalog is where our mega menu is linked to now, we'll go in and it shows that first column where we set our image. And as you scroll down, you can see your additional columns. The mega menu has this nice darker background color, just kind of separate it from the main menu down here. One more thing actually that I forgot to show you guys. When we go into header, go down to the mega menu, and we can have this really cool banner. We'll link that to the blogs. And now when you go in here, and I'll show you on desktop as well, you scroll down, and right after your mega menu section, you're going to have this really cool banner. I'll make it a brighter color for you as well so you can see it. Oops. So here's the really cool banner, and here it is. Oh, and there it is here. And you can have that link to wherever it's going to my blogs right now. But yeah, I think that's about it. It's pretty clean. A lot of the spacing is really consistent with the main menu. Cool. So now I will go over the, yeah, I went over that. How about the iconography that Sharon brought up? So in our theme settings, we can go to social media. We can add a couple of social links here that we want people to visit. It's not showing up right now because we want to add it in the header. And here's our icons. They have circles. I personally don't want the circles. So right in the top left here, I'm going to uncheck show circles around icons. Bam, here they are. And I believe it's the same thing down here in your footer. So if you click back the show circles, it's, ooh, is it gonna update? Oh, I see it. There's a little issue down there. But anyways, the circles are there now. So yeah, that's a really neat new option that you have for the iconography. Let's jump to, what else can I show you in this version? I guess I could, can I show you the FAQ page? Yeah. Yeah, I thought that I had a separate thing, but I guess they're combined in here, so that's good. So yeah, here's the FAQ page. How about I show you actually how to set? Does everyone know how to set that up? Am I supposed to show that part? Okay. Yeah, yeah. So if we're good on that, then I'll just. Okay. All right. So for the FAQ page settings, we could add a really cool banner. So I'll add that in right here. Boop. And then you have your nice sections, but I would like the option, I would like to have an image right on the right side here. So I'm going to click on this guy. Oh, what's happening there? There we go. And so now I have an image on the right side. But if you want the option, you could go to the left here in the settings and you could click on the left. But take note on mobile view, no matter what, your image is always going to sit below the questions. So you can put it to the left or to the right, but it's always going to sit below everything else. So that's the FAQ page. Let me see here. How about we
say I love those illustrations. Those are amazing.
Yeah, they're pretty great. So let's hop over to the, all right, I'll save you.
Sorry, is it too late to ask a question about the FAQ template?
No, go ahead.
Can you just pop into the content blocks that show sort of the headings and...
Yeah, sure. So on your left here, you can switch over the headings, switch over the title, question. So there, and then there is the answer. And after you type that in, it'll update. You hover over here, and here's the answer. It's revealed.
That looks great. Is there a limit to the number of sections or questions that I can add here?
Oh, I actually I don't think there is. Is there, Matt?
No, there isn't a limit to the blocks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That answers my question entirely.
Cool.
And a big fan of Rick and Morty here as well, so thank you.
Oh, excellent, excellent. All right, so if there's no more FAQ questions, I'm going to get out of this and go back into the quantity box. All right, so what I will do is we'll check out this rock collection. I think, yeah, so the Speed Mega Rock is the most expensive one, so we'll look at that. So on your right here, normally, you know, you would have the quantity box above it. So let's go back in here. We'll check the Show Dynamic Checkout button as well, because we did an update to that. And then we'll go back into theme settings and product grid, and we'll go to Show Quantity Box. I like to click a few of these just to show what's going on. Yeah, so what's really nice is that everything is kind of the same size and the same height, which I love, instead of, you know, the little dinky one where nobody could really press the button before. Everything's really easy to press, and then when you go into mobile view, oh, it's a little broken. I think I clicked the wrong one, but anyway, Matt fixed this earlier for me. Anyway, so everything is the same size and the same spacing consistency, and that was an issue that we were having previously, so I'm really, really happy about that. And let's just order 19 of these. I think that's about it for the quantity box. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, great. So let's jump out of this. I'll save. And then we'll go over to the brand spanking new newsletter pop-up. Would it be helpful if I brought up what the demo shop currently looks like the pop-up, or does it matter?
You can show us the new one first, and if anybody finds that they just can't remember what the old one looks like or want to do that comparison, then we'll chime in.
Okay. So let's go in here. Oh, and there's the pop-up. It's quite bigger just in terms of spacing around it. Again, like all of the spacing for the input fields, they're all consistent with the buttons, same with the quantity box buttons, like everything just feels a little bit tighter. What else could I show you here? How about I do this, and then we bring it down. Oh, a little bit more. Oh, maybe this one. Oh, there we go. And so once you get to smaller screen size, it actually removes the image and it'll stick to the bottom. But you're still able to scroll up and down the page, which is really, really great, because you still have your messaging, and if people aren't sure if they should click off or not, it's still here for them. I'm not going to click off of it yet because I want to get down to a very tiny size. Actually, let me just do this version better. Yeah, we get down to a smaller size. And since I have a really tall pop-up, it's kind of difficult to see the scrolling. I quickly change that. The text. 1 second. There we go. So now you can still see that you're able to scroll mobile as well. Everything still has that beautiful consistency and spacing in between. And we also added a couple of max widths to the text between sizes so that nothing is going to reach any edges. And, you know, right here, this text also has a max width that reaches the same length as this guy, which is really, really nice. Any questions about the newsletter? No? Okay, cool.
Yeah. There's an issue about this in, I think it's with Turbo. Because apparently Google has changed its positions on mobile pop-ups.
Oh.
That if they don't take up, I posted the article in there. But I think it's a certain percentage of the screen. It doesn't hurt you on mobile. So I don't know if that's something you want to look into with that, because I love the fact that it, you know, becomes docked to the bottom, but I suspect it's going to be higher, or you know, take up too much of the
screen.
Wouldn't the previous implementation have taken up the entire mobile screen until you would toggle out of the pop-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we still have the option to turn it off on mobile, but I've had a couple merchants bring up that Google lets you, is now saying it's okay if it's smaller. So.
Interesting. Well, let's follow up on that with some more info. I think for this update, though, that this is an improvement for sure.
So you're totally right about that, Michael. The good thing about this is that if they, depending on how the merchant would set it up, like for example, this one obviously has like a newsletter sign-up form. So it's taking up more of the screen. If you were to remove that entire sign-up form, then they could make it a lot smaller. The heading is also quite large. One thing we may want to consider is just making that heading, the font on it is still quite large for mobile, so maybe we could investigate maybe making that a bit smaller.
Well, that's probably text heavy too.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, well, that's good to know. I didn't know that. Are there any other questions or notes? No? Okay. So, okay. So let's see here. The last thing, do I have it in this guy, I wonder? The last thing I wanted to go over were just a couple of animations. I don't remember if these ones were new. I'm not sure, but I think these guys are new, where you hover over and the arrow to the right will move to the right a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that. Boop, boop. And I think maybe there may have been an animation added to the product page. Yeah. Oh, let's see if it's in this version. No, it's not in this version. Okay. But anyways, so the other animation, the exact same one that I just showed you, but on the product page, when you hovered over the next button and the previous button, the little arrow would be moving as well. I think that's about it. Was there anything else that I was supposed to cover, Sean?
There's one question that I have just about the .details template. I would imagine that the featured product is probably set up the same way that we've set up a featured product in all of our other themes, whether it's a section.
Right.
That would be set up sort of the same way. You pick the product and there's some formatting settings. But for the featured promos, just as far as how it works with if I put just one promo or whether I put in 4 promos, just to see how that works, because I know that that's one of the challenges with using blocks in place of sections, is that you end up with sometimes this static number of settings as opposed to being able to add blocks for each component. So just to see how that's manifested.
Sure. I'm actually just gonna, I just want to remove this. All this, well, I guess I could leave it. Yeah, so when you, how do I get out of this? There we go. So when you add a new featured promotions block on a page. Boop, boop, boop. This is what it'll look like down here. And you can change the number of items that you want in a row. I'm pretty sure 2 is the minimum that you can have, which is fine. And you can have up to 4. You can also go through these settings just to have it without the margins. And as long as your images are square, you can make them rounded. Round and wide, you want to see that? Here we go. Woo! Getting wild. I think that's about it for this. And you know, you can just go into the featured product, and it's the same sort of situation that you would expect on the homepage. Oh yeah. Boop, boop, boop. So here we go. This is just changing the text position, not the image position, which is actually, that's interesting because usually we do the image position, don't we?
I think that you're right. As far as our product page settings,
yeah,
definitely worth looking at that just to make it consistent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. And if I were to actually click on Show Dynamic Checkout button, like, do I have to go back to, oh, where is it? The product grid and show it here as well? Where is it? Here. In order for it to actually show? Oh, it
No.
disappeared. No? Okay.
It should be specific to each location. I believe what's happening in that case is that it looks like just the placeholder content may not be showing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so I bet if you selected a product, it would show up, but we should be showing it on the placeholder product as well.
Okay.
There was a bug where it wasn't showing.
Oh, okay.
The older version or not.
Cool. All right. So yeah, that's the featured product and featured promotions section on page.details.
Awesome. Well, what a ton of improvements to Responsive 7. Thanks for walking us through all those setup steps. Does anyone have questions about those setup steps? It seems like because it's from the merchant's perspective that we have to consider this stuff. It's the merchants that will be interfacing with these settings, and whenever any questions come up, it's our support department that ends up receiving them. So if you, as an agent or somebody who knows lots about themes, have any questions about the setup or any tribulations with how this is being configured, definitely bring it up, because that's what the merchants will be bringing up as well. From what I can tell, though, this is all being set up in ways that are intuitive, straightforward, and have already been implemented in other themes. So for instance, our Retina theme already has the FAQ template. The Mega menu is an implementation that's been used in other themes on the theme store. So it's, to me, it's all jiving, but for sure, if anybody has concerns about how this stuff is set up, let us know and see if there's any room for improvement. Thanks again for all of that, Charlie. If you wanted to unshare your screen, you can feel free to do that. And if Matt is available to give us a quick peek at how these two new main features, the FAQ page and the Mega menu, how those have been put together, just in case we have any nitty-gritty questions come up on support or any bug reports coming in on this stuff.
For sure, I can definitely do that. I'm just going to set my screen to present. Okay, so let me know if you guys can see the screen here. Perfect. So I'm going to start with the FAQ template because it's the least exciting, and ending on an unexciting one probably not as fun. So this is so this is the code for the FAQ template. It's pretty straightforward. So like most of the pages in Responsive, we start off looking if they have a banner setting, and then we apply. If they have a banner image, and if they do have the banner image, then we just create it. We add the page title as well. Nothing too unique. If they don't have the title, if they don't have the image, we just put a title instead. This is just the page content. Again, very standard. But this is where the FAQ content itself all comes in. So along here, we check if there's an FAQ image, and then this will apply some settings to it. And then the image alignment as well goes here. Again, it's a class so that we can determine whether it's left or right. It makes it easier for us to change things, and it's an elegant solution. Then we have the FAQ column itself. So in the FAQ column, we go through the blocks. So we check, firstly, if you do have FAQ things, otherwise, why would we show anything? And then we go through the blocks here, and this is just how they're being created. So we look, see if there's a heading, and then if there's a heading, we create a heading. And then if there's, pardon me, and then if there's content, we're creating the buttons itself. So the first DT tag here that you're seeing is the button for the title. And then the second one, the DD tag you're seeing here is, well, we write subtitle, it could probably be a little more better named, but this is the content itself that will be revealed upon clicking the button. Then at the bottom here, we just have the image that you saw going alongside it that can go left or right. And again, nothing too unique that we don't do anywhere else that you've seen. Just some lazy loading going on. This is all this big block here, so nothing too frightening. Let's see what else. Yeah, and then in the schema files, like you've maybe seen before going through schema files, but this is where we just create the blocks. So there's the heading for the whole FAQ section itself. And then for the frequently asked questions themselves, you have your question and then your button setting, or sorry, your answer setting. So it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple, but I did go a little quick. So if anybody is curious about any logic or whatever, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Got a quick one that I figure might come in on support.
Mm-hmm.
Just because toggles and accordions have been a popular request since forever, we've got the feature in the content creator that can sometimes accomplish it. It's got a mixed history as far as compatibility goes. I figure now our best suggestion, if somebody wants a page with toggles, it would be to suggest that they use the FAQ template.
Mm-hmm.
If, hypothetically, they were looking to add a toggle to some other page, would we still be looking at the content creator likely for that, or is there anything from the new page template that we could somehow leverage for that?
That's a really good question. I would still, well, I guess it depends on how we want to approach it. I would still suggest using the accordion stuff that we have built out, because currently, while they could use the FAQ accordion, this is just maybe being a stickler, but like the naming and stuff itself would be kind of confusing, I would say. Only because they'd be like, well, why is it called FAQ accordion? I'm not trying to build an FAQ, or whatever kind of question they want. But like we could name this so that it's maybe more global, and that we could put an article instead, just call it accordion.
Yeah, I think that we'll stick with the content creator solution for now and see how it comes, just because this is now the solution. If you want a page with accordions, use the FAQ template. And just to see what
to hop in here and say the content creator and that accordion, the way that HTML markup is structured is totally different to this markup. And we have some legacy accordion code that we use specifically for those accordions added by merchants versus accordions like in this situation on the FAQ page. So the two are sort of different.
Sure. So maybe a project for down the road is updating the accordions that are in the content creator kind of thing, which I'm sure involves overhauls across the board. But all right, good to know that those are completely separate toggles as well.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, in short, yeah, they're built pretty different. But they thankfully both do the same thing, so yay. Okay, so the more exciting one would be the mega menu itself. So the mega menu has a lot of parts to it, but thankfully I tried to build it out fairly modularly, so looking at it through code is a little easier to read and go through if you have to debug anything. You won't just be looking like at a giant wall of text with all the code in it. It's split into a few snippets. So let's go down to where we start actually doing things. This is just the header liquid file. So it's the same stuff you've seen before. So down here, so this is where we start creating the main menu that you see going on right now in responsive. Also, you'll notice there's some comments stepping through some of the mega menu stuff now, which, while it's not stepping through every unique piece of code, it's at least going through what this block of code is doing. So it'll help you find maybe where an issue is lying, hopefully. Or if you're working in there to adjust anything, maybe it'll be helpful to some. So it starts off by looping through all the different mega menus that you have added to the header, because you can have more than just one mega menu added. And then afterwards, we check to see if, all this block here, we check to see if the title that you put in the setting is the same as an actual link on the main menu. And then if so, we create the menu with type mega. So this basically, I'll show you later on, just says this menu item has a mega menu on it. And then if not, just build a standard menu. So then we'll go into include menu. So that's the menu.liquid snippet. And then here is some more logic. So if the type is in fact mega, so we're building a mega menu, we go through the block, or sorry, here we're just assigning variables just for usage. So we name them pretty straightforward, kind of like what we're doing in page.details and product.details now, so that we can use them in other areas or just easier to read as well. It's not like a big line of text. Instead of block.settings.megatext, now it's just megatext. And then, yeah, so that's what we're doing here. And then let's see. Yeah, so what goes on is if it's a mega menu, we build the menu item itself. So if this menu item doesn't have a drop-down menu, sorry, let me double check, make sure I got the right thing going here. Yes, so we go create the mega menu itself. So if it has drop-down items, actually this might be redundant at this point. So I'll just continue with this one, sorry. So what we do is we create the item, or sorry, the link item for the menu here. So this is the standard list that you would see on the main menu itself. So the menu title, and then the little arrow we put along beside it so that people know that there is a drop-down menu that presides here. And then this is a arrow for the mobile version. Just because they work in two different ways, there is a separate arrow right now. And then we create the mega menu. Again, just for legibility, it's in a separate snippet, and I'll go through that one in just a sec. And then if, like you saw previously, we don't add that type of mega, then we just build the menu item just like normal. So this was in the header originally. Just if there's a drop-down, or sorry, if there isn't a drop-down, it's just a standard link. There's the title. And if there is a drop-down, then we build the drop-down as you've seen before. I think it's on pretty much all of our themes. It's the same kind of drop-down style. So there's nothing new there. And then so, like I was saying before, we include the mega menu, and this is the mega menu code. So at the top, we're just assigning a couple things. So the current column that we're on is just set to 0 by default. And this is a column position. So this is for that custom column that can be added. This is just to turn it into a number, because the 0 that you have to put in the schema is technically a string. So it's just getting around that. Let's see here. So this is where we create the mega menu. So this is the wrapper itself for all the content on the inside of it. And then this little top portion here, this is the nav. So that is that right arrow, the arrow on the right that lets you toggle the content if there's more than 5 columns shown. Otherwise, we just hide it because we don't need an arrow if you don't need to navigate. And then there's the actual content in the mega menu itself. So what we go along here is we have a for loop for all the content within that mega menu that you picked. So for example, if you selected, I don't know, footer, it'll take all that content, all the links in your footer, and run through it for every item in there. So again, like the comment suggests, here we're checking to see if the current column that we're on going through in the for loop is the column position for the custom content. And if it is, then we create the custom content, which again, to make things easy to read, it's in a separate snippet, and I'll go through that. Actually, I should probably go through that now so we don't lose it. So we're just going through the custom content, or we're going to create a custom content. So that's in Mega Menu Custom, which is another snippet as well. And it's pretty straightforward. It's just a div like all the other ones, but we just, if there's a title, we create a title. If that title has a link, we add a link around it. And then same thing for the image. If there's an image, we create an image. If it's got a link, we wrap the link around it. And then the text, if there's text, we add text. So pretty straightforward. That one, there's a lot of ifs, but we're just seeing if they're empty or not. So along here, so where were we? Right. Oh yeah, so we create the custom mega menu, or sorry, the custom column, and afterwards we create a column right after it, because while you might have an item, say, in the 3rd position, you pick your custom column to be in the 3rd position, we don't want to actually get rid of that 3rd column, so we just build it right beside it. And then otherwise, so we'll continue the if. So if our current column isn't the same as the custom column position, we just create the regular mega menu column. So in here, we just create the header, and then we create the custom content, or sorry, not the custom content, we create that header's sublinks. So for example, if you have link 1 and link 1 has 10 items below it, these 10 items will appear below it.
Quick question for you, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
If I understand right, the nested nav on Shopify can do 3 tiers of menus?
Yes, I believe so.
How would a 3rd tier of menus manifest? So that is going on along here. So your first tier is the main menu items itself. So like the main, actually, I guess I can't really swap between. So yeah, so it's your main menu. So you have like you have 4 links. So there's the first layer. And then I really should show the website because it is confusing otherwise. Let me bring this up really quick. It will be easier to explain. Thanks a lot. I just don't think we've seen it yet. We've only seen 2, like a 2nd nested layer, but not a 3rd in the...
For the mega menu, there's a bug right now where the 3rd isn't appearing.
Fair enough.
So the 3rd is technically appearing, or unless maybe it is myself doing it strange. Give me 1 second.
I'm just curious if it's like indented or what sort of, there's a style.
So unless maybe I'm thinking of it strangely, so this is the first layer here. So we have our main menu. And then these links, or the headers that you see within the mega menu is going to be the 2nd layer. I mean, I just used the same menu here, so don't let that be confusing. And then these are the 3rd items.
You're right about this menu, but
right.
Catalog would be a 1st tier in this case. Like
I see what you mean. Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like just to keep nesting them in your navigation setup and see how those links end up.
Right. So within that, that's not in there right now, based off of the mocks. So it can definitely be added in. We would just need to figure out how we want to approach that.
Sounds good. My 2 cents would be the indentation, to have that extra
Mhm.
tier indented under that sort of sub-parent link. But I'll obviously defer to everyone's expertise here. But just wanted to ask on that one in case that third tier was... Because I think that we would need to support it to carry on with nested nav sort of thing. As much as this menu can do 3 layers of navigation, it's not the 3 nested nav layers.
Right, of course. Yeah, so we should be able to definitely go in to do that. Yeah, we'll just need to know how we want that to look.
Sounds great.
So if the code is still visible, I think I got that set up. Yeah, are you guys able to see this? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Perfect. So, yes. Okay. So, yeah. So, if there wasn't custom content, we create the standard column as you've seen before. And then at the end, we've got just a little bit of code here. So, what this code does is because you can have position 1 to 5 for your custom content. Say if you only had 3 items in your mega menu and you selected the 5th column for your custom column to appear in, there would be issues. So you wouldn't be able to see your content. So what we do here is there's a little bit of logic to determine what the position is of the custom content and how big the menu itself is. And so we figure out just how many extra columns to add so that we can have that positioned properly. So instead of having it just placed at the end, if you did select 5 and you only have 3, we will put 2 extra columns in there so that your custom content is in fact on the 5th column, or etc. So if you had 2 with a 3 down, or whatever you chose. And then at the end, another little pretty simple block. This is for the banner on the custom content. We just go through it just to see if there's a title and if there's a link, and then we just create the banner. And then I'll just go through the app.js just really quick. It's pretty straightforward. We went with our own custom sort of slider in this situation, just because using something like Slick Slider or Flickety or whatever was just a lot to put in there. So instead, we did it ourselves using a little bit of jQuery, a little bit of CSS. So we just look for a click on the nav. So that's that right button on the side that we saw earlier. Let me bring that up. Oops. This little arrow right here. So if they click that, then of course it slides to the next column, and then you can click it to go back. So that is what is going on here. So on click, we see if it's the left side, and if so, when you click it, show me the right side. So we just move the content down, and then if it's on the right, we show the left, bring it back to the start. And that is the app.js. There's some other stuff too, just to make the arrows move up and down, but that's just toggling a class name. There's not a whole lot going there, and it's not going to break the mega menu. Or shouldn't anyways, fingers crossed, I guess. But yeah, that should be, I think, about it. If there is any questions, though, or anything else, I'm happy to answer.
Thanks a million, Matt, for the in-depth look at the code. Hopefully, if everything goes well, this is the last time any of us will ever have to look at this.
Yes, absolutely.
Just kidding.
That's the hope.
In reality, though, issues will come up on support. We may have bug reports here and there, and now we've got a little bit more familiarity with what the intention was here and how this has all been put together. So I think that's great. Of course, I would like to open up the floor now for any questions or comments from the entire team about everything you've seen. So from Matt's look at the code, from Charlie's look at the setup, to Sharon's look at the demo shops, Any questions?
I don't really have a question, but I love this mega menu, like the sliding and everything. I think that's so cool. Actually, I guess I do have a question. Is this mega menu style gonna eventually be applied to like turbo and stuff? Because like I can totally see why doesn't my turbo mega menu slide to the right? That's gonna be support requests for sure. So yeah, that's my question.
I'll field that one for you, Brent. To say that right now there are no plans to alter the turbo mega menu. In fact, it may be considered more flexible than the responsive mega menu, the way that it's configured currently, because of its use of content blocks. The type of menu that we have in turbo wouldn't get approved with Shopify, which is why we haven't gone for that type of menu. But you're right about this scrolling component, that will end up being a request for the turbo theme. So good eye on that. We'll probably end up putting a feature request note up for it. I'd like to sort of put a pin in it that we've mentioned it and wait until we see a merchant come in with that idea and then be like, okay, Brent was right. Let's add this as an issue. As far as the rest of the theme catalog, though, yes, we're looking at implementing a similar mega menu to the rest of the themes as they go through their big feature releases coming up. We won't be doing any of those before the end of this year, but then we'll be looking probably at Mobilia early next year as our feature release for the rest of the catalog. If anybody has any other input on that question, for sure add it here. Thanks, Brent. Any other questions?
I just had a thought about the on the details page, that featured promotions section now. I love that. That's great. And I think we can get rid of the image gallery section because there's nothing you can't do with featured promotions that the image gallery was doing. And that one was much more inflexible because you had to have 3 pictures exactly.
Does the image gallery open to a lightbox when you click on those images?
Oh.
It does in another theme, at least. As opposed to it linking elsewhere, it is a presentation of that image instead. For that reason, I could see these blocks still being separate. But the behavior of featured promotions, where you can choose 2, 3, or 4, to have that added to gallery would be a good improvement, I think, to that gallery block. Just because right now it's static at 3.
Right. I wonder how useful that light box is. But yeah. Okay. So maybe worth keeping or, like I said, merging.
Yeah, there's something there for sure. Either those settings need to be made consistent or we do sort of get rid of one of those blocks.
Right.
Let's not do anything for now, I figure. Can revisit it. What other questions do we have? Well, fantastic. Here we are at 2 on the nose, which brings our demo here to almost exactly 1 round hour. What we have to look forward to in the near future are 3 more updated demo shops, where the content of these shops is already in really great shape, and what they'll need is to have these new features configured for them now that these features exist. So the Paris shop, the San Fran shop, and the London shop, all in various states of completion. But over the next week, as we target a August 23rd, 24th submission to Shopify, we'll be looking to get those demos wrapped up now that the feature set is all squared away. And with that late week submission, we can probably count on a release happening during the week of the 27th. So that's what we're looking forward to with the release of Responsive 7. Of course, a big thanks, a round of applause, all the appreciation in the world to the hard work that's gone on this project. Charlie and Matt have been working in close collaboration with a ton of support from Sharon and Anne. We've had our content crew applying time to all of these demos as well, so thank you so much for everybody coming together on this Responsive 7 release. Looking forward to having it out there in the wild. I think that's it. There we go. You can see Brent clapping. There's Sharon clapping too. Yeah. Did I have one other remark before we take off for the afternoon? This might be it for me. I won't be seeing you guys until 2 Mondays from now kind of thing, as I'll be heading to the Netherlands on Thursday, and I'll be taking the day off tomorrow. So I will be in touch with our leads here just to see what we can do to make sure that this target submission date continues to be reasonable and realistic, and things will get delivered even in my absence. So I'll be in touch. Thanks so much, everybody, for taking the time. And Brad, thanks for joining in on the video cast. Also, Michael had to leave as well, so hello to Michael. And I'll pause it here. I'll stop the recording momentarily. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you all on Slack.
Thanks, guys. Bye.